Yeah. We'll give it just another minute, see if anybody else is going to join us. Some people may jump on late, but I know we've got time commitments because I think some of you have some other stuff starting right at 3 o'clock today. So we will get started in just a second. And if we're not done and you have to log off, remember, you'll always be able to watch the recording again. We will send that out tomorrow or Thursday. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you all to our July call. I think this is going to be, they've all been super informative. I think we're on a roll. This is going to be another great informative call. I want to thank the National Fireplace Institute and FutureNow Marketing for sponsoring our program. It's greatly appreciated so that we can do this and get together at Expo and have a great time getting together with each other. I'm just going to go advance my slide here. So we encourage you to be a woman on fire and bond and work together and all those good things because we are more powerful when we are a group. So sorry, I'm off a little bit today. We have our 4.5 and 7-year-old granddaughters for 2 weeks and I'm very sleep deprived. I don't know how people do it with children and work full time. I just don't get it. Anyways, so you can see today is July 9th. We've got our call. We have 2 more calls until we are done with this round of the program. We will get you more information. We are going to get together at Expo and have an event at Expo. Again, here's our monthly group call, just kind of what we do every month, just our 30 to 45 minute Zoom. Again, it's recorded and sent out afterwards if you aren't able to join us one month. And we do that, and there's just great information. And once you get that link, you're able to go back and watch calls from like last year, the year before, and there's great stuff there. So feel free to go back and watch old calls because there's really good information there. Again, here's the monthly meeting expectations for you and your mentor or mentee. If for some reason you have not heard back from a mentee, mentors you've reached out, mentees, if you haven't heard from your mentors, you guys are having a hard time connecting, let me know so I can kind of try to help with that. If you still haven't been able to connect with your mentor or your mentee, happy to do that. Again, Hearth Design Specialist. If any of you are interested and still haven't reached out to me and are interested in taking the Hearth Design Specialist exam, that is something that NFI is offering at no cost to people that participate in the program. So just reach out to me and I can get you all signed up for that. It's a great certification and it is a standalone certification. So it's not, you don't have to do the core as well. You can just do the Hearth Design Specialist. So I'm super excited. So Shannon is going to be our presenter this month and I'm really, really excited about that. So I'm going to let Shannon, I'm going to let you take it away. I made you a co-host.
So I was thinking Emma and I could do that one afternoon.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'll stop share and then you can share. I think, actually, if I share, will it still work if you present it? No. All right.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, so I need to share my screen?
Share your screen, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, hold on.
You know what? No, I think
presentation.
I can do it. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me do it. I think this will work.
Okay.
Okay. If not, let me know and I can advance
Technology. Boy, is that isn't that a great lead-in? Good job, Amy.
Thanks. Isn't that try to do what I can.
Actually, that leads me right into the first slide. Cue slide, I guess. We're going to be talking today about technology, everybody. And I have to first preface this by saying that this was actually one of the topics that Amy and I had kind of discussed prior, to the beginning of this season. But the last couple of months, I mean, you guys are rock stars, and you're sharing all kinds of great information about what you're using day to day. So we kind of bumped up and wanted to talk about this topic, I think on the heels of last month with Mallory, of what programs everybody's using and how can we kind of share that information with each other, from the novice to the expert, what's working, what's not working. This is a topic though, guys, that could take a couple of hours. We only have a half an hour. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to talk just a little bit. We've gathered all the information that you sent to Amy. We have this list of what everybody's using. We're going to touch base on the 4 main categories. And then in the chat, if you want to, when we get to a certain topic and you feel really strongly that you want to try to be the one that kind of just shares a brief little experience about that program or technology you're using with the rest of the group, please feel free to do so. We're going to try to just really feature one person in the chat for each category, just so that we don't make this a really long presentation, but all the information is going to be there. So going back into the YouTube channel, watching this, sharing this later with your colleagues and looking into it a little bit more, or reaching out to Amie or myself to try to connect you with the people who are using some of these programs, just so you can try to bring this into your day-to-day use and hopefully share or save you some time and energy. So Amie, hit enter. One of the biggest things I want to talk about real quick is, why do business owners resist change? Technology is scary. A lot is happening, especially with AI right now and other automations. And even in this meetings, you've heard of what everybody's kind of using and you're like, oh, that's change. So why do business owners sometimes resist change? Go ahead, Amie, and you can click through some of these. Comfort, loss of control, too busy, added work that it might take, lack of support, and even past experiences, you know, that maybe you've had, positive or negative. So then the next question is, what is the value of efficiency? So, because technology can actually help you be more efficient and actually save you time and energy. So value of efficiency is the ability to produce a desired result while wasting the least amount of time, effort, and resources. So in technology, then, we hope to kind of get past that resistance of change and hopefully embrace the little bit of a learning curve to be able to be more efficient and save time. So Amie, next slide. Here's the biggest question, ladies. What is your time worth? Personal and business, right? So I looked it up. There's a simple little program. This 20/80 hours is actually on a 40-hour work week, but I know myself, as many of you probably know, 40 hours is not always what you're working on a weekly basis. But basically, as a general here, annual income divided into 20/80 hours is your actual value per hour. Now, you're more valuable than anything. I know that. But I just wanted to kind of make you be aware of that in a cost per hour percentage. And keep that in mind when you're thinking about the cost of technology. Sometimes it's worth it, you know, for peace of mind and saving time and energy in the future. So next, this calculation tells you, of course, the amount of money you generate each hour. It doesn't tell you the amount that you could generate in an hour. I mean, we do, as women, we've talked about it, personalities. We're multitaskers. We can do multiple things because that's how we're created. We're made up to be able to do that. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about these technology systems that we're going to kind of share here in this meeting. Okay, next slide. So
Sorry.
that's okay, go ahead. Actually, you can click through. The main technology categories we're going to talk about is CRM, which is customer relationship management, inventory, financial, and marketing communications. Okay, so let's just dive right into CRM. What is CRM? CRM is, you know, customer sales and marketing, relationship support, after sales, and management, delivery, and tracking. This is kind of the wheelhouse of operations and making everything, you know, really work. There is a lot of programs out there, though, to be able to use. And it's awesome, but is it specific to maybe sometimes the hearth industry? Or is it specific to your business? Or to your geography, or to your target audience, to your employees, to how your business works with the people that you work with. So a CRM isn't just a blanket easy button out there. You want to try to find something that really works for you. And the best place to start is here with this group of ladies who work in this amazing industry. And what do you guys use? So that was the topic and the reasoning for this presentation. So next slide. you guys who responded shared some of these systems that you use for your CRM. They're listed there on the left. If somebody wants to kind of notice that and kind of mention, if you see one that you know that you have a great experience with and you want to share, we want to give you a couple of minutes to talk about it. Anybody using ChimSpec, Inspector, Stribbon, Service Fusion, Asana, House Call Pro, Salesforce, Smart Service, Customer-Matic? You want to share your experience?
I'm
Yeah.
using, and it's not listed, I'm using Service Titan. And
yeah.
forgive me because I didn't send that in, but with
That's
me,
okay.
for me, Service Titan, I think, has done a really good job with us being able to communicate with our customers through technology. And then also we're able to do all of our estimates on there, do everything, attach it to their profile, pictures, anything, we can attach it. But then on the back end side, we have all the employee information. It is allowing us to track our marketing sales. So if we put that information, if we're like close to it, we can track what we're spending. And then also it allows us to have like a inventory of what we have on hand. So I really like that because I'm the one that's been trying to input everything and really get an understanding so that I can coach the team. And, eventually we can have somebody in charge of just ordering product and, doing that. But as long as I can keep this up to date, we should be good. And then even like when we order product, we can attach it to the job that product is going to.
Right. Great. And actually, Mallory, you made a really good point, everybody. CRM programs tend to actually have, a few different services or options. And then there's others like Mallory mentioned with Service Titan that dives into other areas that kind of like cross the categories we're talking about, like inventory or like marketing. So depending on maybe the size of your company, the resources and support that you have internally, that could also determine which CRM program is best for your company.
And there's a
Thanks,
couple people
Mallory,
that
for that.
put in the chat a few different companies that they use. So if it's something that you guys are interested in, like, oh, we're looking into whatever, when we send out the call, I'll send the group chat stuff as well, because then you can maybe reach out to whoever sent that on the chat and kind of pick their brain on that. So so we've got Chrisetta said they use Smart Service, Janelle, they use Salesforce, Tara was using ChimSpec, but they're fully switching to Inspector. Are you on pins and needles switching to an entirely new thing? I would be like losing my marbles. No, you're good. Okay.
It's really similar. It's like
Okay.
very, very similar. So it's an easy transition.
So actually,
Perfect.
do you mind me asking really quick, what made you, if it's very similar, what made you make that switch?
We started with ChimSpec Basic, and that was working really well. And then it was having trouble with the updates with the Apple iPad and the iOS or something. And so it seemed that and then they did ChimSpec Advanced, which was great, but it was almost too much. And our field guys kind of wanted to go back to Basic. And so when we reached out to them to say, hey, are you doing any of the updates to make Basic work better? They said, no, we're done adding any manpower to that. We are going to build another new level of ChimSpec. And so after that, we're like, okay, let's look into Inspector. And it's very similar, but also has AI. Our guys have been using the AI chat boxes at the end to just, it's the whole report condensed into a nice little paragraph, and it's been great.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I mean, that's a great example, ladies, of really trying to customize the systems that you're using to your company, and also sharing and talking with your technicians, your employees, your sales staff on what works for them. Because it's one thing to dive into something that you've been recommended to use. It's another thing, is it really going to work for your company and your knowledge and usability with your employees. So great experience. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Well, yeah, we probably should move to the next one.
Okay.
Again, if you guys, see any of these and you want to reach out, Amie will send you the people who are using them, and then feel free to reach out and ask.
Like Shannon said, there
The
is so much
next-
information that we can only go through so much of it. So there you go.
Yeah, the goal is just to make you guys aware that there are options out there, and why would you want to take the time and energy and efficiency, to make the change if you needed to. So the next category is inventory. And of course, you guys all know inventory. It's funny, I saw some of the responses from Amy's email that said, obviously it depends on the size of your company. Somebody even said, we don't even keep inventory. We try not to keep inventory on stock. So again, it's customized to who you are and your company. Next slide. But these are the programs that some of you shared you're using technology for inventory. Even still, old school is sometimes the best school is internal spreadsheets in Excel, but oh my gosh, how much time and energy to put into that, and user error. We're human, entering information. Evisys, Striven, NetSuite, Service Fusion, and QuickBooks Online. Anybody in the chat want to kind of chime up and mention their experience with one of these?
Let's see. Janelle uses
Jan-
NetSuite, or she calls it NetSwiddle. I love it.
Janelle, how have you experienced that, and why do you like it? And why did you go to it?
Yeah, sometimes like this morning I call it net slow when it
Oh.
takes forever to load. It's a very complex, in-depth software. Some people in our company, they absolutely hate it. Some people in our company, they love it. But we made it a little bit more complex than it needed to be honest. And so we are figuring that out and have been. I really like it. I think that it's a software that's an onion. It has many layers, and so it can be intimidating. But once you walk through it, you break it down and it makes sense. And I used to train our customer service team. I used to train the new hires for sales and customer service. And it was one of my favorite parts of my jobs, just to break it down and make it easy. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's complex. And we have to have an administrator for it.
And Janelle, how are the people that you're training, how are they embracing it? How are they using it? Are they finding it? Are they the kind of personality and mindset that you are, where you like kind of me? It sounds like the challenge or the complexity of it, but to be able all the off what it all offers. Do you feel that they feel the same way, or is it take a unique person to kind of be able to handle it?
No, training was extensive, and it was too long because of how complex it was. That's why NetSuite is our back-end system, and now Salesforce is the front-end CRM. But I moved over to our business development department before that changeover happened. So I don't work within Salesforce anymore, but
Okay.
supposedly Salesforce is good, right? That's what you hear from people, so.
That's what you hear. Yeah. That's why we're talking.
Kathy's got her hand up, so I'm going to go ahead and, yes, Kathy.
Yeah, I was just wanted to, from a manufacturer perspective, we actually use NetSuite. And, I know we're talking about inventory management, but I think it can be very useful for the majority of back-end items that she had just previously mentioned, just even outside of inventory management. And I would say from manufacturer perspective, I've used SAP. I'm going to date myself. I've used JD Edwards. And I would say NetSuite is probably the easiest for me, but I will give her some credit. It's somewhat complex to initially learn, but once you figure out your loopholes, where to find certain items, and again, not just inventory management, but those backends, the CRMs, the inventory, or the even just the items and that kind of descriptions and those certain things, I think it's a lot easier to navigate that system because I can get information quicker. I'd say the downfall of NetSuite, because it's so complex, is when you're exporting data. That's where it's going to get a little bit difficult, because those sales reports or inventory reports, they're pretty complex because of all the because of the complexity of the system itself in terms of how it's set up. But if you set it up correctly from the beginning, it's pretty user friendly. But downloading reports and getting in there, I think that would be the hardest thing to utilize it. But you're not doing that often. I'd say everyday use NetSuite's a pretty good tool.
Awesome. Thank you for
Awesome.
sharing.
Thank
That's
you.
interesting, your comment about thinking not just in the moment, but down the line, and how you're going to use it for different purposes.
Exactly. It's more of a strategy type software, right? It's one that if you're going to grow that business or scale it in some way, shape, or form, not just with product, not just with inventory, scale store location, things of that nature, that's really where NetSuite, I think, kind of shines. But it's complex to hold that strategy for that future development.
Okay. Thanks, Kathy.
No problem.
Just also looking at some of the chat comments, so that is not included in this list, everybody, is Service Titan. And it looks like a couple people are also switching from Evisys to Service Titan QuickBooks Online. Christetta says, isn't great for inventory, but connects with Smart Service, and that makes it worth using. So thank you, ladies, all for your input on inventory. Moving on to the next category is financial. Now, there's different parts to financial. As everyone knows, we're going to kind of just in general, kind of talking about accounting, payroll, and billing. These are kind of probably the majority of the uses of financial technology that you have to deal with, maybe, or your team has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Amie, next slide. So notice pattern here, ladies. There's a lot of them who are on these systems are on, almost every one of these categories. So just kind of notice those and see again where maybe purchasing one system might be more expensive, but if it does multiple things that kind of checks off multiple categories, it might be worth it. But just going through the list again: NetSuite, SPS, Striven, QuickBooks Desktop and Online, Biller Genie, I haven't heard of that one, digital invoicing, ADP for payroll, and Pocket Smith. Anybody want to speak to any of these on your own experience? Just a little personal note, my son works for ADP. So good company. We're not on ADP, but it's a good company for payroll.
So you have SPS in there, which is EDI. I think that's interesting. I've personally heard Logic Broker, some pretty large companies use that. I'm curious. I don't know anything else outside of that, but I've heard it's a really good software. So I'm just curious if anything else. Anybody else has heard anything about it?
Anybody?
I'm not familiar with that one, but what I was going to say, and it's pretty applicable with like QuickBooks, it integrates with most of those other systems, like the CRMs that everyone were talking about. And I know anyone who's on Service Titan, you can integrate your payroll through Service Titan with QuickBooks, and then do all of your HR management through Innova, which is a similar, it's kind of an HRIS. And that is a smooth and amazing system, which is great for compliance and making sure that you're not, opening yourself up to any risks.
Good point. Very good point. Tara is the one who's using Biller Genie, and she said that it syncs with QuickBooks and generates invoices and emails them to the customers. That's such a great tool, that automation. That's one less step, one less thing that you have to do. It also has a dashboard to see overview of outstanding balances, set frequency of invoice reminder emails, etc.
That's
As
great. It
somebody,
automatically
Shelley
does that.
asked,
Yeah.
Shelley asked, would any of these replace the need for QuickBooks? I know that there's a lot of systems that connect to your QuickBooks. For example, I know Service Titan does specifically. I had a client who had that connected for their communication and then also for their invoicing. Anybody have any experience with that? Oh, see, yeah, we use QuickBooks as it connects to Service Titan, Mallory says. Anybody else? You have a system that they're using for financial or accounting that connects to their QuickBooks? I can tell you from experience, the transition from desktop to online, that's a learning curve. It's very different online. We're kind of going through that ourselves right now. But it's that learning curve that, eventually we'll get there and it will definitely be smoother, but you got to make all those changes and updates, and that takes time. So having somebody designated in your office to try to help with that is also important.
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting to see Debbie's comment. She said their credit card processing is now connected with their CRM, and that makes the process more
Yeah.
streamlined. Yeah, that's great.
Debbie, what credit card processing company are you using?
It's with Smart Service, it's CardPoint.
Okay.
But like I know Service Titan allows for credit card processing as well through their database. So it's worth checking your CRM system to see if there's something comparable, because it has just made all the difference in terms of ease of use and having a response from customers much quicker.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, well, we're going to move on to the last topic. We got a few more minutes left here.
And you're okay, Shannon. If we go a little past 3, we're okay. That's not,
Okay.
We can go to 10, 15 after. You're okay.
Sounds good. Well, as everybody knows, this is my topic here, marketing communications. And let me tell you, even though it's what I do on a day-to-day basis, it is ever changing. And there's always options and always new things coming out, especially with AI right now. So looking into what your options are for technology, there's a lot. And it was interesting, the feedback you guys sent to Amie still has some traditional in there. You've got some digital billboards and radio and local agencies that you use. Whatever works for you is what I would tell you and advise you as a marketing person. Who you have in your office who can manage your advertising and marketing on a consistent basis, and because frequency and consistency is what's most important. So that's why automation in technology and connection with your CRM, as we talked about earlier, even with your financial technology software is important, because it helps to kind of save that by using automation, save that time and energy, and reaching out and cross marketing, to your current customers who already know you for additional like upgrades, for service reminders, for open estimates that somebody got distracted or they had something come up in their lives and they couldn't, actually do the project at the time that they wanted to, but they didn't mean that they didn't want to do the project with you. So any of these are excellent examples of technology to use in your advertising and marketing, but also your communications. Because when it comes down to it, we're all here in this group and we're all learning from each other because we are having this personal relationship. Communication is all about personal relationships. So if you don't have that consistent and automated kind of communication, at least in the back end, if you can't be making those phone calls and can't be talking to your customers on a regular basis, then at least have some kind of technology helping you to do that. So these are some great resources. Does anybody have any feedback that they want to share or experience they want to share on any of these?
I do. We use FutureNow and they're fantastic. I'm just going to say it.
Personal relationship, Amie.
Yes, it is. It is. But it's still something
And
that's,
and by the way, my name is
Yeah.
not on there. My company name is not on there because I put it on there. It actually was mentioned in a couple of your feedback. So I'm not tapping myself. Oh, good. Nadine, I love it. You made a YouTube channel for product troubleshooting videos. Excellent. And that's not
Yes.
only just good for sharing with your customers, but it's great for SEO, for people to find you who are searching and they don't know where to go to get some answers.
yeah,
Easy one, like,
So-
Pilot Light is out.
Yeah.
Wolf Steel Technical.
Yep, she works
Is
for
that
Napoleon.
Nadine?
Yeah, it's Napoleon.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're great videos. She's shown me a couple of them and I think they're really handy for, I think just that's great to be able to use those. So
And a lot of these systems, guys, right now, if you feel like sometimes you just really get stuck with words. How do I communicate it? How am I going to put a headline or something out there that's going to grab attention and really say what I want to say and not be so technical because you're talking so technical, but you want to kind of, get the attention of the layman's or your target audience. AI, find a system, find a marketing program that is using and integrating with AI. It is so helpful. We just had that presentation 2 months ago about the different AI that's available out there. But a lot of these marketing systems are coming with their own AI to help you kind of get that wordsmithing down. Canva. Yeah, Canva's great. We use Canva. We also use, if you have Adobe Express is a version, it's similar to Canva, MailChimp, Google Gemini, ChatGPT, as we were just talking about. Okay. Is there anybody who has any other categories before we wrap up here of technology that we didn't touch on here? These are kind of like the 4 main ones we felt like you would be interested in at least getting some advice on to use. Kathy.
Yeah, and again, I'm coming from a manufacturer perspective, but what we've utilized since I started here at US Stove, and again, that encompasses a bunch of brands. That's US Stove, that's Ashley, that's Breckwell, and they've been around for this company, and I've been with them for about a year and I guess a year and 8 months. Feels like 2 weeks, and they've been around forever, right? And they have a huge listserv. And what we've been able to utilize since I've onboarded here is actually SurveyMonkey. So I know it's not necessarily a communication, but it's definitely a marketing aspect. If you want to understand what your consumers are doing, if you want to understand what your consumers like or don't like, SurveyMonkey is something that we've actually utilized in a variety of different facets, not only from marketing communications or how we market, but also engineering and product development. So it's definitely something that we've tapped into, that a resource we haven't really utilized in the past. But I think SurveyMonkey is definitely up there in terms of gaining that consumer research. And I'll tie it back to what you initially said, where people don't want change. Change is scary. But if you don't know that the market's changing, that's on us, right? So how are you tapping into your consumers? How are you tapping into potential consumers? I think is a huge marketing aspect that everyone should be capitalizing on.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, going back, I'm going to date myself to my college agency years, is focus groups. You don't know, don't assume that you know your audience. Don't assume that you know that they had a good experience. Ask them. The follow-up to a sale should always be that survey, that question. You're not always going to get everybody answering you, but the information that you do get are going to be from those qualified customers, those customers who really want to share with you. And I'm not just talking about reviews, although reviews in their own way is a great kind of focus group in itself. Is just kind of also take some of those keywords and language that people use in the surveys and or responses or in the reviews. And that's also great topics to kind of be aware of when you're doing your advertising out there, because these are things that people know about you and you can hang your hat on and makes you different than everybody else.
1000%. We've actually changed a lot of our marketing, right? POP, things that would be on the floor at Hearth store locations, based on the feedback that we've received, where we make the assumption, oh, we've been in this stove business forever. We've been in this Hearth business forever. We think that consumer is too, and they're not. Right. So understanding how they're shopping, and, you know, one of the biggest data points we found out from that survey was 70% of people are first-time shoppers, which is huge. That means they don't know this category at all. And that, you know, helps develop not only your POP on the floor, but your training with your employees. It definitely sets the tone to make sure you're servicing your consumer correctly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kathy.
No problem.
There's a couple of really great points here that everybody's asking here. A couple other kind of categories or topics that we didn't touch on in technology, but does anyone utilize any vendor management software? And or Carly asked, what cell phone providers for business do companies use? So anybody want to kind of share? And we're out of time, but if you guys want to stay on, if you have the ability to, if you have to jump off again, you can watch this video with the link that Amie sends out through YouTube. Anybody have any suggestions for vendor management software?
With vendor management software, I would recommend checking with the CRM that you're currently using and seeing if they have the ability to set a contact type. So I know in Salesforce, I can do that. I can set someone as a vendor or as a marketing contact or a partner or as a client. Whereas I know in like Service Titan, you can have an entire address book of your vendors, or you can create an actual like vendor account, because that system also logs calls and connects them to everything. So you have the option to do a couple different things, but I would always check with your CRM to see if they have some sort of kind of plug and play option or solution for you.
Great. Thanks for that feedback. That was awesome. Anybody else? Okay. Well, Amie, I think, do I have one more slide? I think I do.
Nope, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got one slide. So Shannon, thank you. This has been great. I know that this can seem overwhelming to people, but I think breaking it up into chunks like this in different categories has been super helpful. So if anybody didn't want to put anything on chat but has questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to like put you in contact with someone who may utilize the program that you're looking into. I'm happy to do that and make that connection for you. I just had a quote. I had actually shared this on our Facebook group I think last week, but in case you weren't on Facebook, I liked this quote a lot. It says, life is an adventure, not just a journey. Be open to new opportunities, challenges, and surprises that life has in store for you. And I know sometimes some of this stuff can seem overwhelming. Just take it as an opportunity or a challenge. Even if it's a challenge, take it as an opportunity, and you may be surprised with what you get out of it and how you feel about it. So again, if you're not on the Facebook group, this is the QR code for the Facebook group. Any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to Shannon. We've got the next 2 calls are set for topics, so I'll be getting some information out to you guys probably in the next week or so about our August call. And the link we will have for you either tomorrow or Thursday if you want to go back and review any of the information from the call. So does anybody have any last minute questions before we end? All right. Well, it was good to see all of you today. Even if you're just a name in a box, it was nice to see you. And we will see you guys in August. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks.
Thanks very much. It was great.
Thanks, Loretta. See you later.
Okay.